Hey folks, this is Jake Davis with an on-the-fly review for you. I've actually been under the weather the last 2 days. I'm gonna bust out and get back to work tomorrow. Don't want to hear no nonsense about some fucking dumbass virus. I'm cool. I'm good. I'm great. But today I'm gonna keep this short anyway, just because it's kind of getting late, and like I said, I wasn't really feeling good. Got my first little burst of energy all day, or all weekend. Might as well do this. Long weekend. It's Tuesday night after all. Yeah, I'm talking about Dolittle, which was released in January. Directed by Steve Goggin, I believe is how that's pronounced, starring Robert Downey Jr., Jim Broadbent, Antonio Banderas, Michael Sheen, and the voice talent of John Cena, Emma Thompson, Selena Gomez, Marion Cotillard, Francis Del and Tom Holland. In all honesty, I didn't know any. Didn't look at see. Oh, and Ray Fiennes. Who was doing any of the names and Rami Malek. But the only ones I actually recognized, just can't believe I didn't recognize Ray Fiennes' voice. But I recognize John Cena's. I recognize Emma Thompson's. Go figure. Uh, this is an atrocious film. This is the fourth theatrical Doctor Dolittle film. The original was from 1967. Starring Rex Harrison, was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture despite being a bit of a flop and a pretty bad movie, to be honest with you. 1998 rolls around, Eddie Murphy does a more modernized Dr. Dolittle, and in all honesty, I thought it was terrific. Really funny film. The sequel to it from a few years later was, it was okay. It wasn't awful. There was certainly worse films that summer that I saw at the theaters. Lara Croft Tomb Raider, to be example, for example. Or to even be exact, that's probably the worst movie I've ever seen at the theater. It's just about that's a piece of shit. Anyhow, uh, my kids are so loud in there. This one's also directed by the guy who did Syriana. That's really weird to me, man. The whole setup here is a few years after the tragic passing of his wife. Um, Doolittle has really kind of isolated himself from the world and cut himself off from humans, who he's never really had much of. He had always had a hard time bonding with him anyway. Polly leads a boy to the gates of the school, or the school for gifted youngsters. No, his zoo, and they get on an adventure. The whole adventure has to do with finding this magical, mythical plant that can cure the queen of this poison she's been given. And I love how he doesn't want to. He doesn't go on this adventure because, to stop the murder of the queen and to stop the violent coup of an entire nation. No, 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 no. He does it to save his zoo. Because he's a hero for animals. Oh, honestly, I enjoyed Ace Ventura: Pet Detective better than this. I think Jim Carrey was better as Ace Ventura than Robert Downey Jr. was for Dr. Dolittle. This is a terrible performance. This is a god-awful performance. In fact, I will not be the least bit surprised if he is nominated for a Razzie next year. This was an embarrassment. Everybody involved in this film should be ashamed of themselves, and careers should suffer for for taking part in such an atrocity to cinema. And the fact that this film came in close to, I mean, you count in how much money they spend on advertising and stuff like that, no doubt it went well over $200 million budget. And the fact that they put it in January. They put it in January. I mean, there's always studios trying to push big releases in non-seasonal eras. That's how, really that's how March and February have become this big, a secondary big spring box office season because of hit films like 300 a decade ago. And they kept that going with recent movies like Deadpool and Black Panther. The late winter, early spring has become a box office territory. Just like Christmas in the summer. It Chapter 1 came out, in September. Big movies never come out in September. No, the hype behind that film is nuclear. Uh, I'm going to give this movie a star. Half a star. It's going to get half a star because, the reason I really want to give it Turkey is because for a film with so much money in it and so much talent behind it, and established an established story and character that you can build on, there's no excuse for this film to be as bad as it was. This just showed that there was no love, there's no care. Nobody involved in this film seemed to be doing this movie because they wanted to. This really felt like a cash grab from top to bottom, and not a very smart one at that. Uh, like I said, Rob Downey Jr. is terrible in it, and if I'm giving it half a star just because there's a sugar glider in it. And I've had 4 sugar gliders over the years. They're fascinating animals, very loving pets, and it was nice to see. I don't know, you don't see them in lots of movies. Anyhow, yeah, Dolittle was real bad, and after Dolittle, and considering how some of the films I've enjoyed the most from this year, except for Sonic the Hedgehog, was just such a fun family film. It's still got it's not a perfect movie by any means, but it's great for what it is. But considering adding to that, uh, uh, ridiculous popcorn nonsense like Bad Boys for Life and Fantasy Island have been like the films I've enjoyed the most this year. I mean, I really feel like we are in for a shitty year for movies here, man. And yes, I understand I'm in the minority. A lot of people seem to be liking The Invisible Man. A lot of people seem to like Gretel and Hansel. I thought they were trash. I really did not like those films. I just thought Gretel and Hansel while pretty, was a very unoriginal film, and Invisible Man, while well made, just was so slow to me. It was slow, and then it was breakneck. The film had almost like a roller coaster effect to me, but not in the good way. Uh, but who knows? Maybe it was the setting, maybe the thing. I don't want to get like that too much. Because if you have to give a movie a second try to convince yourself you like it, you can warm up to movies, sure. But if you have to feel like you have to watch a movie to convince yourself you like it, no, go with your first instinct. So I've already talked myself out of rewatching it. I'll rewatch it if like my wife wants to see it with me, so I might not watch it with her. I don't think she even knew it was coming out. Anyhow, Doolittle, half a star. Very, I won't say it's a disappointing movie because I wasn't expecting much, but I certainly wasn't expecting uh, Robert Downey Jr. to stink up the show. He's better than that. Anyhow, I'm Jake Davis. I'll catch you on the fly.